beautiful people, and welcome back to Wine Chat. My name is Emma and I'm a certified sommelier with a mission to spread wine knowledge and to help you drink better. May the 7th is International Sauvignon Blanc Day. Now, if you're watching this video on May the 7th, then congratulations. Make sure once you've finished watching this entire video, you go out and celebrate with a glass, a carafe, a bottle, a magnum of Sauvignon Blanc from anywhere around the world. But if you are watching this in the future, past May the 7th, then make sure you mark in your calendars for next year so that you can celebrate International Sauvignon Blanc Day with me. To celebrate International Sauvignon Blanc Day this year, I thought I would highlight one of my favorite producers of Sauvignon Blanc, and that is Clos Marguerite from Marlborough in New Zealand. And while I do talk about New Zealand wines a lot, and yes, I know there are Sauvignon Blancs from other places in the world, not just New Zealand. I mean, you've got some incredible examples from places like Loire Valley, Sonoma, even Australia and South Africa too. But this example from Clos Marguerite made such an impact on me when I first tried it about 5 years ago. It's lived in my head ever since. So I thought today we would chat a little bit about Clos Marguerite. So grab a glass and let's chat about it. Clos Marguerite is a small family-run vineyard based in Aratiri Valley in Marlborough, and it's run by husband and wife team Jean-Charles and Marguerite. And they moved to New Zealand from Belgium in 1996 to realize their dream of owning their own vineyard and making their own wine. Jean-Claude studied winemaking in Bordeaux, and he ended up working at several chateaus there. He then also studied soil sciences with a focus on French vineyards at a university in Belgium. But for Marguerite, the wine business was in her blood. Her grandfather was a highly successful wine wholesaler based in Brussels, so she had been surrounded by wine her entire life. When they moved to New Zealand, they were very confident of Marlborough and the wines that could be produced there. But Jean-Charles first started his New Zealand wine journey working for Gladstone Vineyards in the Wairarapa before moving to Marlborough to work for Corbin's Wines. In 1998, they purchased 10 hectares of land in the Aratiri Valley, but they didn't plant the first block until 2000. They've slowly planted more over the years, and in 2005, they built a winery on site. One thing that I really like about Clos Marguerite is how they take influence for their winemaking from both the old world and the new world. For example, they like to plant their vines at a really high density, and this is something that is quite uncommon in a place like Marlborough. So planting high density basically means that there is more vines per hectare, and the vines will have to fight to get all the water and the nutrients from the soil. This might be used for some more kind of premium Pinot Noir producers in New Zealand, but generally in Marlborough, especially for Sauvignon Blanc, it's not overly common. This is something you would more find in places like Bordeaux and Burgundy in the old world. They comply with sustainable New Zealand wine growing practices in both the vineyard and the winery, and I really like their philosophy of nurturing the planet. They let sheep graze in their vineyards, which helps to control the weeds and provide fertilizer. They try to reduce the amount of fungicides they use by crop thinning and leaf plucking, which is all done by hand. Now, Jean-Charles has a rule which I absolutely love, which is keep it simple and respect what Mother Nature gives us in the vineyard. Now, to make the Sauvignon Blanc, 70% of the grapes are whole bunch pressed, while 30% of the grapes are destemmed and crushed before being pressed. Whole bunch pressing allows for a more delicate extraction of the juice, while destemming and crushing increases the amount of contact that the juice has with the skin, which aids in uplifting aromas and liberates some of the phenolic compounds that are held within the grape skin. Now this gives the wine an extra layer of depth and complexity, which is probably why I enjoy it so much. Now after the fermentation of the Sauvignon Blanc, they will leave it to rest on its fine lees for several months. This gives the wine a greater texture, a fuller body, a little bit more complexity and a bit more finesse, and this is something that I find is often missing in Marlborough Sauvignon Blancs. For those of you who don't know what fine lees are, they are basically smaller particles, mostly made up of dead yeast cells, that settle more slowly in the wine. Now, they're not harmful or a bad thing. A lot of winemakers will either choose to filter them out or leave them in, or like with this wine, you can leave the wine to age on its lees for several months, several years, and this just gives a little extra kind of depth of flavor, a little bit more texture and complexity. For me, this is a really juicy and vibrant style of Sauvignon Blanc. It's not thin and austere and harsh like others can be. This is really beautiful to drink on the nose. Straight away you get a little bit of, I want to say warm grapefruit, kind of candied mango or dried mango, juicy pineapple, a touch of green pear, really ripe lime as well. And on the palate there, I would even add maybe a little bit of grapefruit, but this really is really juicy with that tropical fruit. And the acidity is not too harsh. And it has a little bit of creaminess. Maybe if you're drinking like a mango lassi, that's kind of what it feels like in your mouth and kind of what it tastes like. This is really beautiful. Now this is definitely available in a few places on the UK market. Here in London, there's a couple of wine shops that I know for sure sell it, they stock it, and I will list them in the description below. If you're in New Zealand, well then you're in luck. This should not be hard to find at all. You can order straight from the winery if you are so inclined. Otherwise, I know lots of restaurants stock it, lots of amazing wine shops. This is definitely a wine that you don't want to miss out on, and the perfect wine to get to celebrate Sauvignon Blanc Day. Well team, that is all for this week. Make sure you give this video a like. If you haven't subscribed yet to Wine Chat, make sure you do. Now if you end up drinking some Sauvignon Blanc on Sauvignon Blanc Day, please do let me know in the comments below. I want to know what you're drinking, where it's from, and is it as delicious as my Clos Marguerite 2019 Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand? I bet it's not, but please do let me know anyway. I will see you all next week for another episode of Wine Chat, and until then, remember, drink better, be better.